is Stefan Sagmeister. I'm an Austrian designer who lives and works in New York City. I got a scholarship to study some more to get a master's in New York, and that basically was a very easy and soft entryway. The scholarship allowed me to basically have my living expenses somewhat covered. It was also a much cheaper place than to live. And so I could choose the jobs that I took on more on the merit of if you could do something good for it, rather than that I really needed the income. After that, I spent a little bit of time in Vienna again, worked in Hong Kong for 2 years, and then in my job in Hong Kong, I very much understood that New York is my kind of city, and I moved back in '93, worked for my hero Tibor Kalman for 6 months, and then was working in the confines of my own tiny studio ever since. Every 7 years we close the studio and I do a full year's worth of trying stuff out. So in the second sabbatical, a whole bunch of us was working on furniture. And a friend of mine came, this was in Indonesia, and a friend of mine came over from New York and looked at all that furniture and thought that this was somewhat a waste of my time. He thought that I should be working on something more worthwhile. And I don't know, it occurred to me that I should heed his advice and took some time off from taking time off and thought about what it could be that would be interesting for me and possibly beneficial for a viewer. And that's where the idea for the film came about. I started doing a little talk on design and happiness maybe 10 years ago. And the reason for that was simply because when I thought about why I actually get out of bed in the morning or why I do the things that I do, the very end result of what I'm doing or the reasons why I'm doing it seems to be connected to well-being or happiness. And I thought maybe it would be worthwhile to see if that could be pursued more directly, because of course in my everyday life I take all sorts of sideways and byways. I did not want to make a film where it's 15 experts telling me what happiness is, what they think about happiness. So the hope is, if we ever finish this thing, the hope is that it's a very personal film, where it very much tracks my little journey through these experiments. I'd say I'm a designer. It's considering we do quite a bit of things outside of the pure graphics world now. Designer probably would cover it best. I would not call myself a filmmaker because I have much too little experience, and I've never even made a film yet. I mean, we've made these little parts and we are working on the first film, but even then I think it's a film made by a designer. Not by a filmmaker. And the same would be true with art. I think that I look at the world very much from a design perspective. And even if we now sometimes make things that are not functional, I would still call them design because that's where they come from. And I went to design school, I've worked within the world of design, I'm within a design studio. We largely work with the medias of design, so it's I think design is a pretty apt description. And I'm extremely happy and thankful that I wound up in a field without really knowing that in the beginning, that is so vast that you can, specifically if you've been doing it for a long time as I have, that you can go from one corner of it to another corner and check out the middle and the ups and the downs.